Hello, welcome to another video. I haven't done a technology video in a long time. I don't actually haven't made a video in a while. The last video was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So today we're gonna look at Windows Vista, the operating system. That's the version of Windows. It's not as terrible as people make it out to be. And see, as you can see here, I'm here on the default, Vista wallpaper, and here's the desktop. Here's start menu, yeah. Alright, so we're gonna figure out if it is obsolete or not. Yeah. Let's start with your most important program, your internet browser. Now, unfortunately, the latest version of Internet Explorer will not work. Well, it does not work, but you can upgrade to Internet Explorer 9, which I've explored in a previous video. I'll link to that video at the end of this one. And it actually still works. Now, one thing that was different about that video is that YouTube now loads in the new HTML5 player on Internet Explorer 9, as done in that video. It previously didn't. It loaded in the old pre-September 2015 YouTube player. So that will, yeah, if you want to. So, I don't know if there's any add-on for IE9 that enables the YouTube Flash player, but it's put into the old YouTube player. But it is possible in Chrome and Firefox, as long as you have Flash installed in those browsers. Okay, so if you don't want to use Internet Explorer, most people don't, then you can install Mozilla Firefox. And the thing is, you can actually still install the latest version of Firefox on Windows Vista. Check this. I gotta update Firefox on Vista 59. I actually gotta update Firefox on Vista. So I hear from somewhere that Mozilla will continue to support Firefox on both Windows XP and Vista until 2018, which is pretty impressive. So that means both XP and Vista will be have access to the modern web for quite a long time. Past 1 year past Vista's end of support, and maybe about 4 years past XP's end of support. 4 years. And then there's gonna apply the update. It still works. So yeah, but I think the latest version is actually 50. One of the most popular browsers, Google Chrome. Well, it turns out the latest version of Google Chrome will no longer work on both XP and Vista. You would have to go all the way back to Chrome 49, which isn't that old. It came out earlier this year. Now, what's interesting is that this version of Chrome still has the old Chrome icons and buttons and stuff. So, yeah. Rather than the new ones, the new smaller material ones that were introduced in Chrome 50 and upwards. So if you want to use the Chrome with the older buttons, there you go. It's right here. Something going on with the internet. So that's fun. So what about the other applications? Well, let's see. You have the built-in applications right here, like Windows Mail. Now, Windows Mail pretty much, acts very similar in a very similar way to Outlook Express on Windows XP. It's an email client, built-in email client. Now, a built-in email client kind of thing was removed in Windows 7. But it eventually came back in Windows 8 with the Mail app that you can go to, and it's still in Windows 10. No one really uses Microsoft's mail clients, but yeah, November 23rd is when they activate this thing. So there's Vista's email client. You have the Welcome Center, which was introduced in Vista. It's also in Windows 7, so it'll meet users a welcome experience. I think this is meant to replace the tour that was in Windows XP. So Windows Mobile recently, and then you have WordPad. Now WordPad, including Vista, is actually the same as the one that's included XP, Windows 9X, and all that. So Yeah, not too different. This is the last version. Vista was pretty much the last version of Windows to include the old versions of WordPad and the older version of Paint right here. Let's see. It's pretty much the same as the old Paint, except with some updated icons for Vista. This is the last version. And Vista was also the last version of Windows to include the old calculator. Nowadays in Windows, they replaced it in Windows 7 with an errorized calculator that stayed in Windows 8. But then they changed the calculator in Windows 10 to a universal Windows app. And here they're going to change Paint again in Windows 10 in the upcoming Windows 10 Creators Update. So that's interesting. So then you have Windows Sidebar, which is one of the main features of Vista, and the gadgets. And as you can see, the gadgets here in Vista are very similar to the ones you see in Windows 7, and I see at the top of this. The gadgets were eventually removed in Windows 8 due to security reasons, and now the abundance of live tiles in Windows 8 and Windows 10. So, Vista, so we can turn that off, remove those units. And then you have Windows Explorer, which was very similar to 7's-ish, almost. Favorite links. The folder icons were slightly different than the ones you see in 7. You see sample pictures, there's some simple pictures. The select, and also the select area around the start menu, it's slightly different than the one you see in Windows 7. Just pointing out, they have this bar thing, quick actions, kind of like, what they have on the side of Windows XP. You have sort of smooth stuff. This Explorer is very similar to Windows 7's Explorer a little bit. You have the folder, you also have the folders view for XP return. Favorite links, which eventually became the libraries in Windows 7, so yeah. That was Vista. So Vista's fonts. And menu accessories. So what about command prompt? What command prompt is? Command prompt still, yeah. Accessories. And then you have Windows Calendar, a proprietary calendar application, which I think has only been in Vista. Eventually, so yeah. This is pretty much what they had for a calendar, just like with Mail. They removed it in 7, but they eventually brought it back in Windows 8 with a calendar app, with an innocent calendar app there on it, yeah. It's no longer many of Windows Contacts, which was, this was a thing in XP, but it was called Address Book. And then they still had it in 7, but it was called Windows Card Space. And yeah, it had it in 7, and then they revamped it in Windows 8 and called it the People app. So yeah, there's Microsoft Windows now too. In contacts, and then you have Windows Defender, which is still on Windows 7, 8, 10, all that. Download link for Windows Live Messenger, which I don't think works anymore. It's now been replaced with Skype. And then you have Windows Media Player 10 or 11, I can't remember. It's pretty up to date. I think this is the one that came with Vista. Windows Media Player 10. You got some songs on here, some sample music. I'm not gonna play that because copyright reasons. Not gonna play. And then Windows Meeting Space. What is this? I've never heard of this program. Let's see. This is so it's like a network here. Okay. And then here you have Windows Movie Maker. Now this version of Windows Movie Maker isn't the one from Windows 7. The one from Windows 7 is the one I use. It's also on 8, 10. You can download it from the Windows website. This one is a slightly more modernized version of the XP's Movie Maker. It's very similar. You can import like titles and credits, and as you can see, it's very similar. And as you can see, it's very similar to XP's Movie Maker, except the default font this time is Sego script and Arial, like in XP's. You can change that. It's very similar. Let's go to the effects, and you can see it looks very similar to XP's Movie Maker. I mean, it's pretty much the XP Movie Maker, but with a new coat of paint on it. Windows 7 has a ribbon. Just the sounds. Then there's Windows Photo Gallery, your photo viewer on Windows Vista. It was replaced by the Windows photo image viewer in Windows 7. It was replaced, but it's very similar. 2006, so some photos from 10, 11, 12 years ago. Oh boy. This was taken, this is a video, sample video. It's probably stock footage or something. This is a sample video, so if you want to go use that. And then there's Windows Update, which pretty much controls all your Windows updates. Sync Center, Sound Recorder, which was introduced in Vista, as well as the Snipping Tool, which is still in here, as well as the Snipping Tool. No. There we go. And, you know, it snips stuff, just like, yeah. What I noticed about Snipping Tool in Vista is that Snipping Tool in Vista had this red outline across the steps you took. And nowadays, in 7 and later, it's been removed, so, you know, notice it had this red some of the different applications here. Even access center, magnifier, narrator, on-screen keyboard. What's interesting, yeah, this icon, the on-screen keyboard application, it's not the one in Windows 7. It's pretty much the same one in Windows XP. Yeah. Narrator, system tools, you have Internet Explorer, no add-ons, computer, character map, ComicMax, extras and upgrades. You have Windows Marketplace, pretty much Microsoft's first attempt at a store. Sure, yeah, continue. Firefox is updating, and it send us to the now non-existent Marketplace site as Windows Marketplace has been shut down. It's actually succeeded by the Windows Store in Windows 8 and 10. Then you have PC, and then you have games. No games installed here since it's a different copy of this, not the home edition. Maintenance, startup, yeah. I mean, Vista isn't terrible. Some of the applications won't work with Vista. Maybe a few of them. Latest version of Chrome, Internet Explorer. But if you just use Firefox, install Flash, I think you have pretty good experience on Vista and looks fine. Now, I think the big reason why people hate Vista back then when it came out is because a lot of computers at the time, the best ones were running the ones with the Vista writing machines. Those only had about 512 megabytes up to about a gigabyte of RAM, and that wasn't enough to run Vista. To run Vista properly, the arrow and stuff, you would need a computer with at least 2 gigabytes or more. And see, as you can see in this working machine, I'm running Vista of 4 gigabytes of RAM on this PC. Now, here's some of the other cool things you can do. Vista control panel. As you can see, this view is very similar to XP's control panel, and what this has to offer. Now, the Windows wallpaper selecting system. It's very simple. It's the same as it eventually would be in Windows 7, so that hasn't been changed. Customized colors. You have these colors to choose from. They eventually expanded it in Windows 7. Include more in Windows 7. Let's switch back to the default. Adjust screen resolution. Screensavers. They still have these. Some of these are still from XP. Well, it's supposed to show the Windows logo, but it's not. There's Energy, Windows Energy, which I'm pretty sure was exclusive to Vista. It basically shows this Vista line, and then you have these nice wallpapers and such on your screen. Okay. Why that? You also have Aurora. Some of these were exclusive to Vista. Some of these are in older versions. Some of them are. Some of these screensavers are in Windows 7. That one's Mystify. Photos. Shows pictures. Ribbons. Alright, so that's the screensaver. Change the theme. Okay, so the theme settings here is very similar to ones in XP. And see, I have that kind of thing going. What's interesting now? Windows Classic theme. If you now, most people they're trying to run Vista back in the day. They would switch to the Vista. Let's see. Let's actually go. Let's actually go to appearance personalization. Change. Now, people wanted to. Yeah, I'm trying to find the advanced settings. Yeah. Now, if your computer wasn't fast enough to run Vista, you would usually switch to this theme, Windows Classic theme, which much faster actually. Yeah, what's this sidebar doing? Here, close sidebar. And yeah, if you go into the Classic theme, you could choose from other themes. So you have this start menu in the Classic. And now this version of Windows was the last version of Windows to include the Classic Start menu, as mentioned earlier. They removed it in Windows 7, and that prompted creation of Classic Shell, which basically gave Windows 7, 8, and 10 users the little classical Start menu on their desktop. So that's if you wanted to do, yeah, there it is. Then there's Windows. This theme, which is the last version of Vista to include this theme, which I believe this was like the default theme in Windows 98. People can basically switch back to in 2000 in XP and Vista. And we have high contrast themes, high contrast, yep, same ones. And if you like the look of Vista, but your computer couldn't run Arrow, then you can switch to the Windows Vista basic theme, which basically is a less graphic intensive version of the Vista theme. Less graphically intense version of the Vista era theme. It's in fact the spiritual successor to the Windows theme in XP. So yeah, it's great for these XP computers back in the day. And the thing is, the basic theme is actually still in Windows 7, but they removed it in Windows 8, sort of. However, I found that a little trick in Windows 10 that if you run an application in compatibility mode Windows XP or lower, the application will load with the Windows Basic theme instead of the default Windows 10 Metro. Loading the Windows Basic theme, as they also removed the Classic theme in Windows 8. So this is basically what you have. It's very similar to the basic theme. And you still have this in Windows 7, so they removed it in 8. And it was replaced with the Arrow Light theme. Now let's switch back to Arrow. default for Vista. So that's and then you have quick launch to last version of Vista to last version of Windows to come with it. To come with this, they removed it in 7. It was quickly replaced by the pinning to taskbar and pinning to start menu features. Have to be, and they have these power and shutdown buttons. Actually, this isn't a power button. This is actually a sleep button, and this is a lock button that locks the computer. And of course, you can go to the shutdown menu, and now this confusion was improved in Windows 7 with the shutdown button. And then the shutdown menu, you can still see it here. You can see it here in Vista. Default programs. Some of the icons are a bit different in Vista than the ones you see in 7. Icon games is a bit different. Pictures, documents, and then user. They have this kind of tealish look to the folders, which was changed to a yellow one in Windows 7. And that is Windows Vista, yeah. Now, some quick facts that Windows Vista will be celebrating its 10th anniversary in January 30th, 2017, so next year. And then not too far off is April 11th, 2017, the official end of support for Windows Vista. So, yeah. Yep. Well, there was no camera on this, it's just screen recorder. And yeah, we're gonna shut off. Properly shut it off. That's a fake shutdown button. That's a busy waiting. I just finished the video. I just finished. Well, the producing of the video. Alright, so.